Yo, 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 man. Back again for another freeform therapy session. Tonight is the night we talk about a little recap. What happened over this weekend. Football immortality. People stamping their tickets to the Super Bowl. Where do I want to start? I guess I'll start in sequence. Keep it all a buck with you. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna hold back. I gotta let it out. Starting with the Ravens and the Chiefs. Great game. If you're a defensive-minded person, this was a great game. It was a hell of a game, actually. Both games were. Both championship games were. I want to put that out there. But just talking about Chiefs, Ravens right quick. My takeaways from the game. Biggest one, I feel like Baltimore did not play Baltimore football. I feel like they got away from themselves. And I hate to say it, but the Chiefs are the modern day New England Patriots. They the modern day dynasty. They got the coach, they got the quarterback, they got the tight end, and they shuffle receivers and running backs. But I'm going to keep it a buck with you, man. That game, I felt like Lamar Jackson let us down. He let people down. And it wasn't because he's not a great quarterback. He let you down because what makes him great is his legs, is his escapability, is his almost Michael Vick-like moves and slippery. Like I haven't seen a lot of quarterbacks be able to shake loose the way Lamar can and the way Michael Vick could back in his heyday. And that was the biggest thing for me. Because I feel like the thing that got people in trouble when they played New England and the thing that get people in trouble now playing the Chiefs is that great coaches, quarterbacks, they almost make you play not their game, but they almost make you play yourself out of a situation. Because if you would have told me that the Ravens would have thrown the ball as much as they did, I would have been like, why? They're a running team. It makes no sense. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what really cost them the game is Lamar Jackson is not Tom Brady. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He is a dual threat quarterback. And on top of that, it's like, why not run the ball? The Raiders beat the Chiefs early in the year by running the ball and not throwing it. And I feel like the Raiders, who is a division opponent, gave you the blueprint. They gave you the blueprint. Just run the ball, man. See, in football, what happens is a lot of teams that are running teams, if they don't go for a big game here or a big game there, they are just abandon it altogether. Kind of like what happened in the Lions game, but we're going to get to that later. We're talking about the Ravens. Stay focused. I feel like that first drive that Kansas City had, they showed you who they was. They showed you who they was. Kansas City didn't change nothing. They like Kansas City, Mahomes to Kelsey. It didn't shock me. It didn't change how I feel about them because that's who they are. That's who they are. When in doubt, 15 is going to 87. When in doubt. The Ravens, on the other hand, it was so many times Lamar could have just took what the defense gave him. They collapse in the pocket when you pass, but the running game slows down the pass rush. Everybody knows that. If you know football, running the ball slows the game down. And people are like, oh, but they didn't have a chance to run. It's not that they didn't have a chance. They just abandoned the run. It's one thing to actually run the ball with 25, 30 attempts. And it's another thing to just say, oh, this shit ain't working. I'm out. We done. We ain't doing this shit no more. And I think that's what cost the Ravens in the end, is that they came out and didn't play they brand of football. Defensively, I think it took a little time for them to catch on to what they was doing. But I already knew what Kansas City was going to do. Kansas City showed you in the Buffalo game. We're going to get the ball to Kelsey. Kelsey is the guy. And to me, prior to the game, I felt like Baltimore had this game because I felt like they was going to run the ball, number one, play defense, bracketed Kelsey the whole game. Like, why wouldn't I if I'm going to lose the game, the number one target of the other team, he's not going to get 10, 11 catches. I know that. He out here tying Jerry Rice for the most receptions in the playoffs, then breaking it. You think I'm going to let him do that on me? Hell no. Hell no, he ain't finna do that, man. But they let it happen. They let it happen. And like I said, in the first two quarters, I mean, it really was a Kansas City just like did what they were supposed to do, got their points early. And then in the second half, it just seemed like because Baltimore was out of a rhythm because you're not running the ball, it fed into Spags' defense. It fed into it. It fed into it. Spags' defense, if you don't know what Spags is, talking about Steve Spagnuolo. I think that's how you say his name. He is a pressure defense, but it comes from the front four. He's not going to really send too many people. But the thing about it is you can negate that by running the ball. Like I said, with the Raiders were like the last team that like, oh shit, the Raiders beat the Chiefs? Yes, because they ran the ball. And the Ravens, it just seemed like, okay, y'all don't want to run the ball? Fine. But Lamar, you got to break out of that pocket and escape. And then the commentators, I think Tony Romo, I mean, I give Tony Romo his props. Sometimes he be making sense. He looking at it like, look, realistically, all they doing is playing coverage. But if you got to run it back in the flat, throw it to him. Basically like take your check downs because they're going to be open all day. And if you start noticing, when Lamar started cooking, that's what they did. It's like the running backs were open, and then when they play more towards that shallow, you go over the top. But it didn't happen that way, man. And I mean, I give the Baltimore defense credit because, I mean, they really did stop them for a whole half. They scored 17 in the first half, and then they didn't score no more points in the second half of football. But if you watch the game, I know football enough to say this. There's only so many opportunities your defense going to give you as an offense before you have to capitalize, and you got to capitalize, man. You got to. You got Justin Tucker. Take a field goal, do something. Give your defense something inspiring to like, hey man, we got 3 points. All right. We can feel inspired. Y'all bringing out all the Ravens legends, the Ray Lewis, the T Sizzle, and all them. When you look back at it, that shit was embarrassing, man. That was an embarrassing offensive performance for the Ravens. And I know a lot of Ravens fans don't want to hear it. I know some of the calls y'all didn't get, you felt like you should have got. But let's talk about it. I mean, the biggest one is the one in the end zone where he throws the pick. He threw a pick, and I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Even though the pass interference definitely happened, as a referee, I'm like, Lamar, you throw that shit, and it was 3 people right here, bro. It was 3 people right here. Why the fuck would you throw that? You want me to bail you out by saying it was pass interference, which it was. But then on top of that, if it was 1-on-1, I feel like he would have got that call. But it's 3 people right. There's 2 other people right there, bro. Like, why throw that? Why put yourself in that predicament? Why do it? He did. He let it happen. He let it happen, man. And I feel like that's the shit I be talking about, like trying to do too much. You know, take your check downs. If you was taking your check downs and you was bailing out whenever they gave you a hole to run out of, because they was, even though they collapsed in the pocket, they still left pockets for him to bail out. He just, in a weird way, it just felt like he just didn't take it. It was like, nah, I want to show y'all that I can throw the ball. I get that, and I understand it. But Lamar, I need you to be Lamar Action Jackson. I need you to be Michael Vick reincarnated. I need you to be you. I need you to be him, man. Being him is not throwing for 500 yards, 400 yards. That's Patrick Mahomes' game. Patrick Mahomes don't have the legs like you do. I mean, I know sometimes you wish you can just pull it down and take off with it, but that ain't his game. He is the opposite. He is the air it out, throw for 300, throw for a touchdown, you know. And at one point, he was so fucking accurate. I mean, it was just like ridiculous. It was like 11 for 13, and it was just crazy. But Lamar, I felt like he could have did, if he would have been him, they would have won that game. But they didn't, he didn't, and it just, the body language on the sideline was terrible. And I get you frustrated, but you can't be frustrated when the shit just ain't working. It ain't working. It's not working because you're out of rhythm. You're not doing what you're supposed to do. You're not doing what you're used to doing. And what hurts the most as a fan of football is watching great teams play each other. One team sticks to what they do best, and the other team come out and try to do something that they don't do at all. And then I'm not saying the Ravens can't throw the ball. They don't have a good passing game. They don't have receivers. But in this game, I feel like, why can't you do both? And as an Eagles fan, I definitely got tired of seeing the receiver screens, but I ain't going to say nothing about that, though. I ain't going to say nothing about it. But, yeah, man, I feel like Lamar, if he would have been Lamar Jackson, if he would have just been himself, and sometimes I feel like because he want to get away from that stigma of being a running back or a running quarterback or whatever, he tries to do what Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and all these other guys do. But I feel like the Joe Burrows of the world, but I feel like, Lamar, you are more unique than all those other quarterbacks. Josh Allen is the closest to you, but he's not as fast. He's just physical. He's a physical presence. You know? Joe Burrow has the receiver core to do what he do, and Patrick Mahomes been with Kelsey forever. You feel me? But you, on the other hand, your receivers, like I say, they wasn't getting the ball in the first fucking place. So I say, fuck them. I tell them like this: just keep staying open, keep being open, man. But sometimes when I see shit, I gotta take it. I gotta take it so we can keep going. Extending plays, extending drives, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like he just converted to this, oh, I'm a drop back passer, I'm gonna do this. Stop it. Let it go. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. And what happens is it made for the game yesterday. And I give the Chiefs they credit, man. The Chiefs, as crazy as it sounds, all them plays that they fucked up early, all of a sudden now these receivers is like catching every fucking thing. They're catching everything. It's crazy. It's weird, man. But I mean, it's kind of like you knew it was coming. It just seemed like when they want to make plays, they make plays in the playoffs. And all of a sudden now Scantley and Hardman and all these guys, Rice, Kelsey now, all these guys can just catch the ball out of nowhere. They just making these miraculous catches. But the smart thing that nobody want to really talk about that Kansas City did, no Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney, they knew and they know. You know you done fucked up, right? Kansas City gonna let him go because they can't afford them L's, man. They can't afford them drop balls. And it just seemed like he was when they took him out of the lineup and just said, oh, he's a healthy scratch or he got an ankle injury or whatever it is. At this point, bro, they just paying you to be on the team, but they don't want you really on the team because, boy, if he was out there yesterday, they would have definitely lost that game. But I give Patrick Mahomes a ton of respect, bro. I give Patrick Mahomes a ton of respect. He is the best quarterback in football, hands down. The AFC got quarterbacks that can go toe-to-toe with him. But the thing about Patrick that makes him different is he just makes the pivotal plays at the pivotal time that end up with the results, man. And that defense does just enough. Just like with the Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers, I ain't gonna lie, man. I feel like he's gonna be a star in this league. A young dude, rookie season. Let me tell you something, Zay. I ain't mad at you, but I just want you to understand. The criticism you're gonna get, it comes from, for me, it comes from watching and knowing how New England works. Like I say, when you're dealing with dynasty type teams, they do things and they teach things. They teach things that come up in games and you be like, Just like everybody know New England, you never see the receivers stretch out. Reason why is because of what happened. If you gonna stretch the ball out at the goal line, Snead made a great play, a veteran play. That's the type of shit that's gonna happen. But see, you young and you thinking this like college. You think college, they're not gonna poke their hand out or do nothing. In the NFL, whatever chance you get, they gonna take it. Snead looked at it like, oh, he gonna stretch the ball out. Bloop. I'm gonna just go ahead and bloop, knock that bitch out of their hand. Not only that, but it took away the momentum. You know what I'm saying? And then you look at the taunting call he got prior to that. That fucked them up too because they went from maybe the 10, 11, somewhere up in there, to like the 30. And then you get all the way back down there, and then Lamar throws a great pass to him, but then at the same time, you get the ball knocked out your hand. Touchback. So, I mean, I can't be mad at him. He made a play. He thought he did what he was supposed to do. So I ain't gonna really just condemn him, get mad at him. I just tell him like next year, hey man, you gotta chill out. And you gotta learn how to control your emotions. I know it's an emotional game and you felt like you let the team down, but don't let them emotions take you out of the game though. You know what I mean? Don't be one of them receivers where if somebody say something, now all of a sudden you just out your game. You don't want to play no more. You just want to fight. You just want to do this, that. You know, you're a good player, bro. And I feel like for Lamar Jackson, you're gonna be a stud, bro. They probably gonna go out and get another one of you, man. You know what I'm saying? That shit gonna, man. I don't know how the playoffs are gonna work next year, but hopefully you're in the mix. You know what I'm saying? If you're in the mix and you got an opportunity to make that play again, now you know how to handle it. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to you, man. Great season. Shout out to Andy Reid, man. Big Red, man. As an Eagles fan, I mean, I hate to see him winning Super Bowls with this fucking Chiefs team, but I feel like, in all honest opinion, he got the quarterback for his offense. I didn't never feel like Donovan was the quarterback for the offense that he had. And he wasn't even the play caller that he is now. You see what I'm saying? So it kind of just all worked out. And plus, he needed a fresh start from Philly. You know, he had been there forever. You know, but shout out to Andy Reid for another trip to the Super Bowl. Big Red in this bitch. Shout out to Baltimore, the defense. I fuck with all them boys, man. I ain't gonna lie. From Roquan, monster. Kyle Hamilton. Let me give you your flowers now, man. Kyle, man, you was a beast. Number 14, I know you gave her that touchdown to Kelsey in the first quarter, first drive. But, bro, you're a stud, bro. You're a monster. I mean, god damn. What are they going to do with you, bro? And, I mean, you did your thing. I feel like y'all, the Ravens are in good hands. Next year, they're in good hands. They just got to tweak some things and everything's going to be all right. I'm not going to sit up here and bash Lamar and all this shit that people doing. I'm not finna do that because that's looking at it from a different perspective that I don't have. And I'm a football connoisseur. I love football as much as I sometimes hate it because my Eagles was on that dumb shit this year, and I had like fasted off of football. I was like, man, I ain't watching this shit. I couldn't help it. I had to watch it. I'm sorry, but that's my summary of Kansas City and the Ravens. It's a great game, though. Great fucking game. Now let's move on to the motherfucking Lions in San Francisco. Ooh, ooh, ooh. First, I give Dan Campbell, fucking football coach, Detroit Lions. I give him his props for just being him. One thing about it, two things for sure. He was him the whole time. He didn't change. The thing I said about Lamar turning into a different one, as a coach, he said, "No, I'm being me. Fuck this stupid shit." Shout out to Brock Purdy for making plays when sometimes the play wasn't there. Brock Purdy played like how you thought Lamar would have played. He would have took them lanes. If he would have took them, maybe that game would have ended differently. But in this game, Brock Purdy did do that. Jared Goff. I give him his props, man. Jameer Gibbs. I feel like the Lions as a team, you got to feel excited about it. If you're a Detroit Lions fan, you got to be feeling excited, man. Even though that shit ended the way it did, I mean, it just comes to territory. Like I said, I'm an Eagles fan. I was there for every NFC championship game that we lost in a row. To the Panthers, Tampa Bay, fucking, who else? I forget them other ones, but yeah, man, I was there for all them shits. And I mean, we lost them. We lost all them bitches, and that shit hurt. That shit, every year it was like, oh, the Eagles get to the NFC Championship game with shit ass of receivers, a quarterback and a running back, and a good coach and a good, great defense. The Eagles had a great defense, and we always came into the NFC Championship game, but we lost. But getting back on track, Steve Wilkes, man. I give him his flowers too, because as a defensive coordinator, I'm gonna continue to say this, and I'm gonna say this forever. I didn't like the way after that Minnesota game that they treated him, the way they treated him. After the old boy, it was what his name? Mario Addison. He caught that ball on old boy, and old boy went for the pick, and it just the receiver came away with the ball, and they was like, "Oh, Steve Wilkes, why did he call that play? Why did he call that play?" Man, Kyle Shanahan, like I say, when he did that shit, me personally, I just fell out of love with him, and I was like, you know what I mean? How you give a motherfucker that look like, I know this motherfucker ain't talking no 28-3 ass motherfucker, but hey, I'm gonna get in that shit too. But this game, when the sun was up, I sum it up like this: when the sun was up, fucking Detroit was on fire. I've seen San Francisco look like trash when they was on that 3-game loser streak, but it seemed like to me, Detroit, when the sun was up and then no white jerseys, San Francisco couldn't do nothing, bro. Jameer Gibbs was getting busy. Montgomery was getting busy. Laporta was getting busy. Jared Goff was getting that thing out of his hand. That defense was flying everywhere. I mean, they was sacking Brock Purdy. They got the interception on Brock Purdy. I mean, they had everything you would have thought for that first half of football. And then it's like, I guess the sun set, and it's like, ooh, no San Francisco zombies must have came out, because god damn, it was a thriller after that. Shit. I told my girl, I was like, man, this shit over. Oh, it wasn't over. But the reason why it wasn't over was because Dan Quinn in that moment, like I just said for the last game, great coaches and great teams and great quarterbacks, when you play them in these type of games, it just seems like to me that the other team doesn't play to what they do best. What I mean by that is this: Dan Campbell, as much as I know you want to go for it, take the points. Take the points. If you do what you do in the Super Bowl, nobody questions it. Because in the championship game, it'll be like, well, he didn't go for it on fourth. He just took the field goal. Now in the Super Bowl, they're going to expect you to go for it. Or they might expect you to kick the field goal and you don't. But it just seemed to me that every time they went for it, it backfired. It was like when the Eagles do the tush push, it's because they want to get like a good third down play to get to like 4th and 1. You know what I'm saying? So they can do the tush push. I think with the Detroit Lions, it just seemed like in that second half, every time they went for it, they couldn't execute the fourth down play the right way. It's like if the play is supposed to be the play, it's like the execution was terrible. So next thing you know, it was all bad. And shout out to San Francisco, because I mean they made the plays. What killed them the most was the Ayuk situation. I like to call it the Ayuk debacle. People say, what happened? I say, shit. What happened was Brock Purdy throws the ball. It was supposed to be intercepted. The ball hits off the defender's face mask. I'm gonna tell, before I go into it, if you are a defensive coach or defensive anything, I want all my LBs and corners and safeties to catch 100 passes in every practice. I want 100 catches from all defensive players. I have to, because that shit cost us. Getting into it, it cost you a lot. What it did was, it was a 14-point swing. Now, nobody thought that was going to happen, but it happened. Because the ball bounced off his face mask, Ayuk catches it, they score a touchdown because of that play. The Detroit Lions go back down, they get the ball. Jahmyr Gibbs, Jared Goff have a miscommunication with the exchange. He fumbles the ball. Now they get the ball and they score because they was down by 14. But now, instead of them down by 14 and then Detroit gets a turnover with that, because like if that was an interception, the game is, I ain't gonna say over, but it's like, ooh, I don't know. But that's how it happens. It just like sometimes luck just intervenes. And like IU said after the game, a ladybug landed on his shoe. And I was like, man, that's crazy. Ain't no goddamn ladybug laid on your damn shoe. But then I was like, what if it did? What if it fucking did? Shit, I mean, hey, luck happens, man. Luck happens out of nowhere. But so all that happened. So now the game was tied. So then I think San Francisco got like a field goal. They kicked the field goal. All right, cool. Dan Campbell, like I say, had you not been Dan Campbell and just took the points, because it was a point where it was 24-27. It was fourth down, and everybody kind of figured they was going to go for it. I don't know the guy, Reynolds, number 8. It just seemed like he was Kadarius Toney. He seemed like the Kadarius Toney of the Lions. It seemed like every time they throw in the ball on fourth down, something happened. So in this particular play, like I remember it, I think it was Bosa or somebody might have applied pressure. He steps up and steps around and throws it, but he kind of throws it like behind him, so he couldn't catch it. You know what I'm saying? He could have caught it, but he like didn't catch it. It hit his hands, but he dropped it. Just to be honest with you, I'm like, fuck. Now, in that moment, had you kicked the field goal, it would have been a tie game. But they didn't. And then San Francisco goes down and gets a touchdown. So now they up by 10. But see, like I tell people, the thing about that is, had you taken the points, it would have been a tie game. Everybody got a clean slate. We got to just see what happens. You know what I'm saying? Because even though you reeling and even though they came back, the game's still tied. You know what I'm saying? So you can still call plays the same way. It's hard to call plays when you're down by 10 and it's like under 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? And then next thing I know, the shit just started, the time started just trickling away. And then, shoot, they get to this part of the game where Detroit is trying to score, but then they run the ball, get stopped on the goal line, have to use a timeout. So now they down to 2. They keep running their plays and they throw the touchdown to Jameson Williams. And I was like, ooh, that shit was close. He snagged that motherfucker, but that bitch was close too. Even that play was like, it was a little bit dicey. So I was like, I don't know. Then they go for the onside. Dude touch it too early. And they basically just run out the clock. But, I mean, shout out to Detroit for having a great season. It just, like I say, it seems to me when great coaches play other great coaches or great teams play other great teams in pivotal AFC championship games or NFC championship games or NFC divisional games and stuff like that, one team is going to be themselves and the other team is going to definitely not be who they thought they not going to be themselves. And in both games, the Ravens and the Lions, the Ravens, they didn't run the ball effectively to get in the rhythm in the passing game, which threw them off because they just threw the ball too much. Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, they're like a 25, 26, 27 attempt passing, 10, 15 rushing, and they'll shred you to death. The Lions, Dan Campbell sometimes just take the points, bro. It's okay. Dan Campbell he coaches football like a person that played Madden. And they go for it. What they do is they score a touchdown, but they always go for 2 points. And then when they don't get it, they looking like, damn. And you looking like it's 7-6, it's 14 to 12 and shit like that. And then the one time you fucking need it because you done fucked around and missed all the ones earlier, you don't get it. Or you go for an extra point and you still down. It's like, come on, man, do better. But, I mean, shouts out to the 49ers defense. They stepped up, man. They stepped up in a big way in the second half. They ain't allow too much of nothing to happen. Real talk. And, you know, just like the Chiefs defense in the second half, they didn't allow nothing. They allowed 3 points. Excuse me, they allowed 3 points. So I'm not really, as a fan, I just, I like defense. I like people playing defense and people stopping other people because it's just fun. Sometimes that offense get out of control sometimes. I don't want to see all these 38, 32s and all that shit. I don't want to see that shit. But what intrigues me the most about this Super Bowl is I'm going to be honest with you and I'm going to say it now. I don't think Kyle Shanahan is ever going to win a Super Bowl. I think that 28-3 debacle in Atlanta is his curse. And he always going to have to wear that shit. I don't think he's going to win this Super Bowl. I think Patrick Mahomes get his 3rd Super Bowl. He probably his 3rd MVP. He chasing Brady. I think the Swifties going to be out. His dad to me is the coolest motherfucker he's the coolest dad to have at that position. Cause your son is definitely what they call a mixed kid, but your dad is definitely all black. And people are like, oh, Patrick Mahomes don't have none of his dad, this and that. I say this, I'm gonna tell you the truth. He probably ain't got his skin complexion, but Patrick Mahomes got it in him. He got it in him, man. He humble, but hey, man, he a competitor. And I think like I said, it's the same thing with Tom Brady. It's the same thing with Tom Brady. Tom Brady was the same way. Tom Brady is a very humble guy. But in that 3/4 of football, he is, as Skip Bayless would say, he's Psycho Tom. That man is crazy. He crazy, man. And what happens is people look at Patrick Mahomes. He's the light-skinned guy, high yellow, however you want to call it. But he's winning. You can't I don't care how it works. He's just winning, man. I told people at the job, I said the only person that really could have saved us this year from the Swifties in the Super Bowl, he was hurt and he couldn't do nothing, was Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is the only one that when he played Patrick Mahomes, it's a game and it's an issue because he beats Patrick more than he loses to Patrick. I don't know why. I don't know what it is, but the Bengals and the Chiefs, that's gonna be a rivalry next year with Harbaugh over there and what is it? They ain't in Las Vegas. Where the hell they at? For the Chargers, I forget what they at SoFi. I forget where they at though. Los Angeles, I think. Yeah. That's gonna be a hell of a division. And then Antonio Pierce with the Raiders. I mean, that's going to be a good division next year. But just thinking about the Super Bowl this year, I don't think Kyle Shanahan, to me, is going to be able to win no Super Bowl because of that shit that happened with the Falcons. I mean, he got to the Super Bowl last time with Jimmy Garoppolo and they lost. And he had Tyreek. The Chiefs had Tyreek at the time. I just don't think the football gods are going to allow him to win a Super Bowl. I'm sorry. Patrick Mahomes is on a Hall of Fame plateau, a Hall of Fame high art. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think they're going to let that slow down anytime soon. Patrick Mahomes is a monster, bro. He's a fucking monster. Like, Brody is definitely... He the best quarterback in football. Hands down. He the best player in football. Fuck the stupid shit. Patrick Mahomes is that dude. He's him. He's whatever the great one is, he him. He the great one. He the GOAT right now. Ain't nobody fucking with Patrick, man. And like he's starting to get that Tom Brady stick, that Tom Brady title. I can't bet against him because whatever happens, they find a way to pull it out. They find a way to get busy. So, I mean, hey, I don't blame him for being great, and you shouldn't be humble when you that guy. Why? Now, when we competing, I don't care what you say. But when we get done and the game is over and I got this dub, I'm going to congratulate you. But I got to keep going, baby. I got stuff to do. So that's my recap of the championship weekend. Super Bowl prediction. Kansas City 35. 49ers 30, 35, 29. 35-29. That's my prediction. I don't like neither one of the teams. I'm an Eagles fan. We beat the Chiefs and lost to the 49ers. But it is what it is. But that's my recap of it. Another free-form therapy session is over. May y'all be all right. May y'all have a great day. Enjoy your time, man. Hope you enjoy this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell a friend about what you saw. And shit, I'll see you when I see you, man. Peace.